each. Oh, wait, no, that's. What's up, everybody? This is ER Fantasy, and today we're going to be reflecting on the 2021 season, giving you some of the booms and busts and sleepers. And we're going to be telling you,
what went on in the year,
yeah,
how'd it go.
and it's going to help you with future years of fantasy football, noticing the trends. So.
He could be the next Justin Jefferson. I wouldn't go that high, but
He's the GOAT.
he's pretty good for a rookie wide receiver.
He's
getting
beautiful.
drafted in your late rounds.
And he's very
Pick him
cute.
up.
So then could I just bring in someone that you shouldn't be starting in your lineup?
For sure, Footy. Anytime you want to speak.
Kyler Murray. So my first boom of the year is the biggest boom there was this year. Cooper Kupp. All right. Now Cooper Kupp, he's a wide receiver 1 in fantasy football. He was drafted as a wide receiver 18. That's insane value. He's a league winner. He's been the most valuable player in fantasy this year. And if you look at as to why, like, how does he go from an average receiver who does the same things every year, not average, but a good receiver, to the best receiver in the league? Well, same thing with Stephon Diggs last year. He's a great wide receiver and a new quarterback, and he got a new quarterback, and he's just went off. So in the future, when you're drafting, look for good receivers who have got new quarterbacks, because they have the potential to boom, like Stephon Diggs in 2020 and Cooper Kupp in 2021. So.
That's a good point. All right. My first boom is, in fact, Deebo Samuel. He is the wide receiver 2 on the year. And what I like about Deebo Samuel, even though, in my opinion, he's injury prone, I feel like his hamstrings are no good. But that's because the San Francisco 49ers rely on him. They use him as a running back. I mean, last week he had like 20 points without even catching a ball, I think, which is pretty insane. So he has really good value, and he's a player that, since the 49ers use him in so many different ways, he's very valuable.
Yeah, the 49ers want to get it in his hands throughout the entire game, and they know his value, and he's a great option. All right, my second boom is a player that people are usually scared of, but this year he finally was worth drafting. Joe Mixon. Every year people complain about drafting him so high, and because he always gets injured. But this year, the Bengals are actually a good team, and he's drafted at running back 13, which is where he usually is, like every year pretty much. But this year he actually returned value. He's running back 3 overall, and he's been a great player. The reason why he's still drafted so high every year is because he's a great player with receiving ability, touchdown potential, like goal line touches, all this stuff.
Yeah.
He has all the makings of a great running back. It's just injuries. So in the future, don't be afraid to take injury-prone running backs, because they could win you the league like Joe Mixon will.
Yeah. Also, what's good about Joe Mixon is that Giovanni Bernard wasn't there this year, so that's a big impact. He would take away a lot of his touches,
Yeah, that's true.
which was annoying, but it was good. So he's in Tampa Bay, so it's Joe Mixon's backfield, and he's showing why. So my second boom is Jalen Waddle. So I loved Jalen Waddle out of college. I think he was very good. I think I liked him better than Jamar Chase. I still don't know. I mean, Jamar Chase is amazing, but I still think the Bengals should have helped their O-line out, especially with Joe Mixon. They still, despite Joe Mixon being so good, they still have like a bottom 5 offensive line in the entire NFL. So imagine Joe Mixon with the good offensive line. I think he would be even better than he is right now, which is kind of scary. But Waddle right now is the wide receiver 11. And Tua kind of looks, even though there's a lot of options, At the start of the year, I thought Will Fuller was going to be there, but he hasn't shown up at all this year. He's been injured. Devontae Parker's on IR. So Waddle is really taking that wide receiver one role in that offense with Gesicki as a tight end. So those are the two main options there. And he's kind of Tua's like safety blanket, and he's so fast that he can break out for chunk plays, which are really good.
Yeah, he's everything you want in a fantasy player. He's got the small receptions and the All right, my number one bust for this year was Robbie Anderson. He was drafted in like the 5th round he was his ADP was kind of in the middle. I thought he was going to be a sleeper this year actually, but he turned out to be awful, like actually awful. I think first week he had 0 points and on 1 target. He just didn't get the targets. I was assuming because of Darnold, he
established the connection. No, it was what's it called? Gosh, what's the word?
a reunion, yeah. It was a reunion between Robbie Anderson and Sam Darnold, and actually you could argue that it was like the Diggs situation where he got a new quarterback and he's a pretty good receiver, but yeah, it turned out to not go too well. DJ Moore took all his touches and he's been really good this season, but yeah, Robbie Anderson. I think the reason actually is because CMC gets the underneath targets when last year I thought Robbie Anderson he was really good last year because he got those small crossing routes that turned into like 20-yard plays.
Curtis Samuel isn't even there either.
Yeah, it's true, but that's CMC's job when he's healthy. So, yeah, make sure when you're drafting to note those things. Note like why certain players did well a certain season and like what the differences are in the upcoming season. That's important.
All right. So my first bust is Mike Davis. He is the running back 41 on average, and that is very bad. He averages 7.1 points per game, and he is like I said before, the RB 41, and that's very bad because there are 32 teams in the NFL. Yeah. And so he is a starting running back, but not really because of the emergence of Cordell Patterson. Mm-hmm. He's kind of been like the goal line back, but he doesn't really. The Falcons don't really get on the goal line for.
Yeah, that's true. The problem I see with Mike Davis is he's just old. Like, he had a great season with the Panthers last year, or he didn't even have a great season. He had a great stretch.
Yeah.
Something to note with running backs is they get beat up really badly and
overused.
And when they're old, like that's why running backs tend to leave the league way sooner. Adrian Peterson is an anomaly. I don't know how he's still in the league, but yeah, when you're drafting, don't draft old running backs because they won't last. So my next bust is Calvin Ridley, probably the biggest bust of the year. People were thinking that he was going to be the best receiver in the league because Matt Ryan throws the ball so much, and Calvin Ridley was the only established target. I mean, they had Kyle Pitts coming in, but Calvin Ridley was the established target. He was going to be the wide receiver 1. He was drafted really high at wide receiver 6, so that's like a 2nd round pick. But he's actually wide receiver 69 right now, and it's not even that he played that badly. He actually had 10 points or at least 10 points in every game he played in, but he actually left on a personal matter because of is it disclosed? Yeah, I think it might be mental health. Yeah, but yeah, he's wide receiver 69 as of right now, which is absolutely awful. He should be dropped, I think, because he's not. I don't think
he's coming back.
But yeah, so one thing about fantasy football is like you can't predict things. Like you can't predict injuries, personal matters. Like you just gotta there's a great factor of fantasy football is luck. So yeah.
All right, my second bust is Allen Robinson. Like I said before, there are 32 NFL teams, and he's the wide receiver 71, and he has not been injured all year. So he just doesn't get targeted. He gets outshined by Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet in that offense. Justin Fields doesn't throw him the ball. But this is a hot take. I feel like if he leaves, Allen Robinson will be the next Cooper Kupp. Allen Robinson will be the next Cooper Kupp.
Allen Robinson will be the next Cooper Kupp.
If he gets a really semi-decent quarterback.
Yeah, he's really talented.
Justin Fields, I like, and their whole coaching staff. It's a mess over there in Chicago. But I feel like if he leaves on his contract, because he's eligible to leave this year, I feel like he will be the next Cooper Cup. Quote that.
So now we're going to give you our sleepers, which is kind of confusing with booms, but sleepers are guys who were drafted really low and turned out to be pretty good.
Overperformed on their average draft position.
Yeah,
ADP.
booms are just people who are drafted semi-high and do even better than how they were drafted. Really good. So my first sleeper is Jalen Hurts. I don't know how he was drafted at quarterback 12 on average. Like, that's kind of insane to me considering his rushing upside. And last year, I remember when he started, he scored like 40 points a couple times. But yeah, I drafted him actually. I really like his running upside. I got him in like the 10th round, which is insane because right now he's a quarterback 5. So the thing about Jalen Hurts and running quarterbacks in general is that they have so much upside so when I'm watching Jalen Hurts, like, I'll be like, he's playing terrible. He has 3 interceptions, and I'll look at fantasy and he has 25 points. It's because he has that rushing ability. And in our league, we actually do 6-point passing touchdowns. So that doesn't really favor Jalen Hurts as much. But in a league where passing touchdowns are worth 4, Jalen Hurts is even more valuable because I think he has more rushing touchdowns than throwing touchdowns, which is kind of nuts. So, yeah, if you're in fantasy, if you're in the late rounds and there's a rushing quarterback available, similar to like Jalen Hurts or
Much others.
There's not really many others that are drafted that low. That's why it's surprising to me. But yeah, Jalen Hurts was a great quarterback this season, and he didn't even play that well. He just a great fantasy option. So
For sure. All right, my first sleeper, he goes by the name of James Conner. He was projected as the running back 35, which again, there are 32 NFL teams, so
this one is really surprising.
Yeah, I did not see it at all. I was, at the start of the season, I wanted to stay away from James Conner. I didn't really like the upside with Chase Edmonds there, and Kyler Murray, a rushing quarterback.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But he gets, how many touchdowns does he have on the year?
I don't know, a lot.
He has like 10 or 11 around. So he's the running back 10 this year. And he was really good in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But
Honestly, like, it was the perfect storm for him to do well this year. Like, he got pretty lucky. I think the first thing was that the Cardinals are really good, which is somewhat surprising. They haven't really been good in a while. The second one is Chase Edmonds is hurt for a while.
He's on the IR.
And the third thing is that Chase Edmonds wasn't hurt at the beginning of the season. Like, James Conner didn't have the load on him all year. He's usually really injury prone. I think he gets injured nearly every year, and he didn't have to have like the load on him the entire season. So, yeah, a lot of things came together for him, and he's doing pretty well. My last sleeper of the day is Marquise Hollywood Brown. He does drop the ball a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you, and that's why he was drafted as wide receiver 49. But at the end of the day, like, fantasy football really isn't about it's like how good the player is or how good. It's really not even that important, in my opinion. It's about opportunity and like, yeah, that's the name of the game in fantasy football, opportunity. You can't predict how, like, if a player's going to drop the ball or if the player's going to do this or that. Like, it's just all about opportunity and analyzing the statistics of the season and making informed decisions based on the opportunity. Like, there's no reason why he should be drafted wide receiver 49 in fantasy because he's a wide receiver 1 on a pretty good offense. Yeah, the Ravens don't really throw the ball as much as other teams because of Lamar Jackson, but this year they did. So, yeah, he's been really good this season. He has the potential to catch a 50-yard touchdown every single game, and he has a lot of touchdowns actually. And he also has tons of targets. Like, last week he had 50 yards, but he had 13 targets and 8 receptions. So, anytime you can get a wide receiver 1 on a team late in the draft, do it. Go for it because
He'll produce.
it could boom for you because, I mean, same thing. I guess it's with these sleepers, like that's what happens. You need a perfect storm for them to do well because James Conner, it's the same thing with Marquise Brown. Like Rashad Bateman was hurt. Lamar started throwing it this year a lot. Like when you're looking at a player, you don't always look at how good the player actually is. You look at what around him is happening that's going to give him more opportunities to be good. Because a lot of, like, an NFL player is an NFL player.
Yeah,
It's just
you
the
have to be
situation
good.
they're put in.
Yeah. All right. My final sleeper is Michael Pittman. He was projected to be the 43rd wide receiver, and now he's the 17th wide receiver. But these past 2 games, he scored 8 points and 4 points, and he's still the 17th wide receiver. I love Michael Pittman. I loved him from the start of the year. He's a second-year wide receiver
Yeah,
again.
the classic
Yeah,
case of second-year wide receivers.
So I loved him on the Colts because if you look at the Colts wide receiver room, it's him, T.Y. Hilton,
Zach Pascal,
and like no one else.
Harris Campbell. He's been injured all year.
Yeah. So it was Pittman's time to shine that year. And he's done really good. Carson Wentz has thrown him the ball a lot. He gets a lot of targets every game, like around 8, I think, which is very good numbers. And yeah,
Why should you draft second-year wide receivers now?
you should draft second-year wide receivers because I saw this stat, and I think it was around like 88% of second-year wide receivers over-project on their ADP. I just stopped.
Yeah, if you're going to take anything from this, draft second-year wide receivers. Draft wide receivers with new quarterbacks.
Opportunity.
Draft running backs that might be injury prone. Get them later in the draft.
Get the good value picks.
Yeah, like these are fantasy football trends you just have to know to be good.
Get Allen Robinson if he changes teams.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
All right. Now, thanks for watching.